In this episode of An Engineer's Journey, I interviewed Jennifer Montejano. She studied materials and process engineering at California Polytechnic State University in San Luis Obispo. Hello, everyone. My name is Connor Dixon. I'm here with Jennifer Montejano. She is a process and materials engineer, and she went to Cal Poly SLO. Jennifer, what inspired you to become an engineer, and was there a specific moment in your life that sparked an interest for engineering for you?
Well, I suppose just looking at opportunities. My dad actually signed me up for a summer camp at Notre Dame for minorities and women in engineering. So I didn't know what engineering meant, and so the sort of the camp was pretty much to show you what like school would be like if you did go into like an engineering degree, and it was great. And the college next to my dad's parents, coincidence there, specialized in engineering. So it was okay. Maybe it was a little nudging from my dad, but in the end, it was triggering me to sort of explore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really the big thing is that love of exploration and problem solving. And I think that is probably what my dad saw that he wanted to foster.
And what was your experiences like at Cal Poly, one of the considered top engineering programs in the country? What was your experiences like as an engineering student there?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people who likes school, always was. So it wasn't gonna ever be a bad experience. But one of the great things about Cal Poly is how much they emphasize labs and hands-on learning. So, I mean, that's I guess really maybe one of the things that was not clear before college was that engineering is like applied science, so it's not like R&D where you're like doing new science. It's taking science that's already known and applying it to the real world, and basically being able to make somebody's idea into reality, right? um, so getting a little bit of practice with that hands-on is I think one of the greatest aspects about the college experience, in at least with Cal Poly. Also, the materials engineering department is very focused on sort of a um, being a little community inside the College of Engineering. So,
Mm.
like all your classmates, like most of the folks in your cohort, you'll see the same people class to class to class to class. And so it becomes a tight knit group, which is great.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give to high school students going into engineering or um, engineering students in college right now to help them succeed more with engineering and help them keep going on their dreams path, career path?
Yeah. So I think like when you sort of hear about engineering, a lot of things that people try to promote to make it sound um, like exciting are some of the stuff that's maybe a little farther out there, but when you're studying it, definitely concentrate on the the main, like, I want to say fundamentals of that discipline, right? So the first portion of a course, you're going to get those fundamentals, and a lot of times the rest of the course is going to be maybe a little more details about how to expand that. But basically being able to remember what those fundamentals of that discipline were going into the next discipline, um, really helps you have like sort of a core paradigm of what you're going forward with. So like even though I'm in materials engineering, I think a lot of what has been core to what I've been doing at my job has been understanding the mechanical side of things and knowing how the material properties that I'm either testing or um, trying to troubleshoot how that affects, say, the load path of the item that we're trying to uh, make for our customer, right? So the interactions of those disciplines require you to really have a good um, understanding of the foundational concepts. So you're not just guessing. You have a good idea of why it is that you need to go on to the next step.
And what do you think a high schooler should look for in a good engineering program if they were already they're looking around for good colleges to go to? What is your top requirements for an engineering program or school to have?
Yeah, I guess one that does center around science and math. I don't know uh, that it's terribly important. Let's see here. Yeah, you're gonna sort of. There's a lot more to consider.
Hmm.
That's going to be just sort of individualized. So, I just probably wouldn't go to a lib art school if I was really focusing on engineering. That's
Hmm.
about it. Otherwise, I think like take a look at, if I guess I was looking, I didn't know what discipline I wanted until like I read through a course catalog. I don't think they print those anymore, but I'm sure they have them online.
Yeah, they're definitely
So,
online somewhere.
so I had to go read, okay, so here's all of these engineering disciplines, and what do I even want? you know
Hmm.
so I would sort of just recommend looking at course information, for engineering departments at the schools that you're thinking about, and see what looks like a good fit for that department you know
Hmm. And what does a day in the life look like for you working at an aerospace company like Safran, even though you're not an aerospace engineer? Um, what is your like day look like for you?
Yeah, it's changed over the years, right? So when I was new, I would say that there was a bit more going out onto the production floor and interfacing with, I guess, the on the ground troubleshooting that was required. And so I think once when you get a lot of those lessons learned, then you're probably doing a little bit more of the documentation of that. Maybe you're doing a little more R&D. And I guess I say R&D, I really mean sort of like the implementation of what the R&D folks have taken, and getting that into the regular process, and creating methods for that. So um, I guess I'm not on the floor as much as I used to be, and that's sort of a bummer. But so I guess I've had a lot of experience now because of the early work with lean manufacturing, and then that sort of evolves into design for manufacturing, and so now it's I guess sort of more about trying to mentor folks in those other things where having done all that.
And Safran is mainly a French company, am I right?
Yeah, it is owned
So
by
how
the.
was your experiences with that working for a mainly international company that is also in the US?
Yeah, and I guess international is really the best way to describe it. But yeah, so I definitely have to be available to wake up early to be on conference calls with folks in the EU. We actually have like a large engineering presence in Brazil,
Hmm.
and they're also like 5 hours ahead of the West Coast, I think, most of the time, depending on daylight savings. So, so yeah, it's a little bit of a schedule flex, I guess. And I have gotten the opportunity to visit various saffron sites in Europe, which I may have spent some weekends too. So that's great. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but yeah, you never know. Yeah, there's definitely uh, sometimes advantages just to be able to, work with folks from other cultures, even if it is just virtual, just different perspectives are definitely a good thing.
Hmm. And how is your field of engineering changing in the next 5 to 10 years, or your company changing with advancements in artificial intelligence and new computers and new processing machines and
Yeah,
manufacturing machines?
so the AI is something that we have sort of a little bit of a there's like they want us to use the tool, and I do, but they also don't want their company data going into the algorithms. So they have way too many rules about that. But yeah, I sort of feel like AI has actually been around longer than people think, and I think it's just getting a little bit of a boost right now. But keeping up with the latest and greatest tools is very important. And I think with as far as like robotics, I'm afraid that various parts of Safran are going to get more of that investment than other parts. And so I work for Cabin, and Cabin is all the interior of the aircraft, and I don't think it's going to get quite the robotics that say like, I mean, actually, Safran's biggest business is being part of the jet engines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a bit more automation and all that there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess part of what I'd say that my job has evolved has been more in the realm of substance management. So basically, like all the industrial chemicals that humans have been using for generations, are really starting to accumulate, and we are doing our best to one by one sort of move on to better options that still do that still perform.
Mm-hmm.
There are give and take in that, and I think part of the challenge is getting the business to buy in to some of the way that changes, I guess, the engineering templates that they copy and paste from.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, I think I'd say that that's become really big in materials engineering specifically, in the last several years.
And what do you think is something that's interesting in your engineering field or in your company that not a lot of people know about, that is something that you just look at and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool or super interesting?
Um, yeah, I mean, those chemistries are getting sort of interesting, and you never know what's actually going to stick. So for instance, I don't know if this will work out, but I thought it was really cool. So as part of aircraft interiors, paint comes up all over the place. But if you want exotic paints, a lot of the times the stuff that's added might be, say, rare minerals, right? So
Mhm.
people have heard of like cobalt and whatnot. And so I guess what people are looking at now is what they call structural pigments. And when I first heard that, I'm like, what? The pigment itself is going to hold something up? But no, it's the structure of the chemical that gives it the color, not the chemistry. So I don't know if you know, like all the beautiful anodize you see all over the place, right? Is alumina, is oxide that's grown on the aluminum, and the nanometers of that coating thickness are what correlate to the wavelength of the color you're looking at. And so in that sort of style, they're looking at um, basically building uh, polymers and in such a way that they have a pore structure that has the pores have like say, certain nanometer, like spacing and whatnot, so that the structure of those pores reflect particular colors the way anodized does. And as much as I reference anodize. I think the way it was, explained to me is actually this idea came from looking at how butterfly wings are colored. And believe it or not, there's not lots of weird chemistry involved with that. It's actually the structure of what's on the wings that makes it reflect like that. So it's almost so. I guess yeah. There's a lot to be gained in uh, biomimicry. That's what they call it.
Mm.
So anyway,
And
that's a good one.
if you were an engineer, what do you think you'd be doing with more free time or as an extra hobby, or what do you think you'd be doing as your career?
Yeah, I've discovered that I think I'd probably do physical therapy. So, I think a lot of what engineering has taught me is that uh, like habits and the systems that you use are basically determine a lot of success and I guess I like physical therapy because in the world of health it's not just a fad. It's very part of the medical um, I guess more uh, time proven methods that help you to form habits that make you stronger, rather than just like a patch.
Hmm. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Jennifer. That'll be all for this episode. If you like this episode of An Engineer's Journey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment if I should do season 2, and comment any additional questions you'd like me to ask. That'll be all. Bye bye.